why don't you expand on why I called you the fastest member of FCSI?
Yeah, I've been asked this question before. Tell people something that nobody would know about you. And the answer to that question is I hold a NASCAR license.
Hi, welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week is the fastest member of FCSI The Americas and has a love of all things technology and racing. Please welcome the Project Manager and BIM Coordinator at Clevenger Associates, Mr. Tim McDougald. Hi, Tim. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Wade. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're joining us. We've been trying to talk you into this for a few seasons and like a couple other guests that have been on this season, you've kind of been thrown under the bus by a bunch of your coworkers to be on. So I think it's great when people say that they need you to be on camera to be seen. So I'm excited you finally got arm twisted into joining us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was something I've enjoyed watching all of these, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to do one, but yeah, a couple of my coworkers have done it and they kept pressuring me. You really need to do this. So here I am.
Great. Well, we're going to start off really easy with, a little bit about you. And of course, the whole episode is really about you, but tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started in food service hospitality and what led you to becoming a food service consultant.
Oh man. So my story is pretty, long and twisted, but like most people, I started out 16 years old, my first job in the food service industry at a restaurant, of course. But I had the brilliant idea of I didn't want to work at a fast food restaurant, so I took a job at a buffet restaurant as the dishwasher. So if you ever want to start at the ground floor, buffet dishwasher, it's got to be the bottom rung, right? So it's like a nonstop onslaught of dishes from every direction. And after about 4 months, I figured out that wasn't great. So I went across town to a breakfast restaurant, place that was really well known for, the really big American 4-egg omelet kind of thing.
Oh, nice.
They had their own bakery doing their own scratch bread and pies. And I took the dishwasher job over there, made friends with the chef, and in short order worked my way up to prep cook. And then he started training me on the line to be basically his sous chef.
Oh, nice.
So I kind of developed a little bit of a chef skill. I'm not formally trained, but I have some training there. And then I met a girl, and her dad owned a drywall company. So I went to work for him and was doing construction for a little over 10 years. Finally tore up my knees, and Elle and I suggested that I not be a construction worker anymore. So I went back to college and landed at an architecture firm, got an associate's degree in architectural drafting and design. So I have some formal training in that background. Spent a decade at an architecture firm in Olympia, Washington, and I had this goal of being an architect, but it appeared that path was coming to a dead end. And I really wanted to move into 3D design. I started training myself in Revit. This was back, 2010, 2011. I started playing around with Revit and really getting into it. And it was apparent that the architecture firm wasn't ready to make that leap to 3D design. So I started looking for a different position, and that's how I landed at Clevenger. They were looking for somebody to lead them into the 3D design world, and I was looking for a career shift. And, 10 years later, here I am. They've taught me food service, and we've built a pretty amazing Revit program. And, I think I know a lot of other food service firms are doing Revit now, but I believe that we're one of the leaders in that. And I'm pretty proud of what we've accomplished there.
Now, with you leading the 3D modeling and everything, is there certain segments that you guys at Clevenger stay in, or do you kind of work on everything?
Our portfolio is pretty broad. I think we work on just about everything, probably a little less in the college realm, but we're still in that. We definitely do a lot of K through 12. We do a lot of community colleges, a lot of B&I, government work. We're kind of in everything.
So the question for you is, and I'm not going to ask the usual question because I already know the answer for you on part of this. and that is when you start drawing something up. You're starting it with Revit now at this point. I'm guessing you're probably not going anything else except this, knowing you and how technologically savvy you are. Is it to the point now where you can almost build it out as quickly as a lot of people do in AutoCAD, or even maybe not as quick as sketching on a napkin, but almost that quick now for you?
I think as a firm, we've gotten to that point where I would say we're almost faster than we were when we were doing it in AutoCAD.
Yeah, I kind of assume that. I mean, my usual question to people is, do you start sketch first? Do you go to computer first? Or I'm like, I already know the answer to this one with Tim. So
yeah, we're just jumping right in the deep end.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of the tech side of consulting, BIM and Revit have gone through, a few iterations over the last 4 or 5 years, not only from our side of FCSI with standards, but also with Revit bringing in the food service operations side of their software and everything. How has it changed over the last 3 to 5 years? And then also kind of put on your futurist hat, and where do you think it's going to go over the next, I won't go very far out, but let's say over the next 3 to 5 years as well?
So I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, it's come a really long way. There's a lot more demand from the architecture side for a food service consultant that's in Revit. And that's kind of one of the reasons that Clevenger wanted to get at the front of that. I think we get a lot more projects because we're in Revit. And even the architects that don't know we're in Revit, that maybe we're working with for the first time, when they find out we're in Revit, they're super surprised and they're really excited. So I think in the last 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years, on the architecture side of things, they've really embraced that Revit thing, and they're really looking for consultants that are in that. And I think as far as the industry is concerned, the amount of Revit content coming from manufacturers has just exploded in the last 3 or 4 years. It's so much better than it was when I first started this.
I think that they finally realized they had to do it. So many people were still trying to withhold and stay back, but I think they finally realized that it's inevitable. You better get your stuff out soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then looking into the future, I think, there's a lot of emphasis on VR and that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool, and it has its place. I wouldn't say we've gotten any projects because we're doing that, but it does help on certain projects where maybe the chef doesn't really visualize flat plans. So there is a need for that. But I think looking down the road, I think the Revit models are going to start going into the construction phase more, and that handoff between the design team and the construction team and how those Revit models move through the construction process and then into, the building life management systems and on the management side of the actual building. I think that handoff is going to start becoming more important. And things like you're already talking about management of HVAC systems, but if we can figure out how to put the right information in the hood systems that can then talk to the building management system, and then they can, manage that over the life cycle of the building 30 years from now, even things like combi ovens and stuff like that, if they can start mixing that into the building management systems, I think that's where the Revit models are going to move in the future.
I called you in the intro the fastest member of FCSI. Obviously, there's a reason for that. And one of the questions I usually ask everybody is, tell something about you that no one else would guess. And so why don't you expand on why I called you the fastest member of FCSI?
Yeah, I've been asked this question before. Tell people something that nobody would know about you. And I used to say the answer to that question is I hold a NASCAR license. But I think most everybody knows that now. So it's not really all that spectacular. But yeah, I mean, I started racing back in 1991, just me and my dad. And we started racing stock cars, circle track stuff. And it's just kind of evolved from there into, it's a family thing. My brother races, his daughter, my niece is now racing. So as a family, we've been doing this for a very long time. And it's just this is what we do. It's our family thing.
And how often are you racing still?
So the race season runs from March to September. And I tell people all the time that it's an every Saturday thing. If I'm not at the racetrack racing the car, we're at the shop on Saturday fixing the car or prepping the car for the next race. And
Okay.
if something bad goes wrong, then you're at the shop a lot more than just Saturdays. So,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, it's an every Saturday thing year round. And sometimes it gets overwhelming. Sometimes you got to take a break. But yeah, I mean, it's an every Saturday thing.
That's very cool, though. It's a great hobby that you've got, but then also to know that you're spending it with your family, so that those deeper roots and the more time you can spend with your family. We only have so much time here, and so to have that time together as well. I'm sure that it's not always roses when you're working on cars together. I'm sure there's some dust ups here and there, but
Yeah.
still it's time together. So, and three of you now racing, that's very cool as well.
Yeah, and we've got a couple friends that are helping us in the shop, and one of our crew guys has a car too. So
Oh wow.
out of our race shop, we were fielding 4 cars at one time. So we're down to 3 now because my brother has kind of semi-retired, but we might
Okay.
get him back in the car later on. But yeah, I mean, some people go fishing with their dad. We go racing.
That's very cool. And I'm assuming by the things hanging on the back of your wall behind you that you're an avid guitar player as well.
So I play bass guitar, and I tell people all the time I play bass guitar because I like it, not
Yeah.
because I'm good at it. Um, this is kind of a remnant of my younger days. When I was a teenager, I was in local bands as a bass guitar player, and it's just something that's stuck with me all my life. As I've grown older and gotten more financially secure, of course, I've now got the means to buy some of the guitars that I always wished I had.
Yeah.
So this collection is getting a little out of control. But, some people restore classic cars. I'm buying guitars.
Nice. Very good. Um, you came into the industry of consulting, obviously a little different than others, and knowing that you had a really good design background, technologically wise as well. Um, what's your one piece of advice you give to somebody thinking about either uh, a recent college graduate or maybe somebody looking to make a career transition like you did? What's one good piece of advice you give to somebody thinking of becoming a food service consultant?
Um, it's usually the same thing I give anybody coming into the design industry at all. Be really open to other people's ideas and theories, and try not to take anything personal. We spend a lot of time and effort on these designs, and then you show them to somebody else and they just kick the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not take that personally. So that's the biggest thing, is that just understand that it's not personal,
Yeah.
and try to get over that, and just be really open to other people's designs. It's amazing how much I learn from other consultants just watching how they go about their process. So just be open to that.
Oh, very cool. If you weren't in the food service industry, what do you think you'd be doing for a living?
Oh man, that's hard to say. I've done a lot of different things: construction, architecture. I've been down the chef road.
Band member, race car driver.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've finally landed at the spot that I think food service is where I belong. I think this is it. Hopefully I can't really see myself trying to make another career change.
Yeah.
I'm really happy where I am.
Very good. Very good. I know they're very happy with you. So that's all the formal questions I've got. But as you know, we're going to have a little bit of fun before we end this episode. So
this is the part I was the most worried about.
You don't. Well, if anything, it's maybe a little less nerve-wracking. I've reached back into the bags of the last 4 seasons and pulled out some of my favorites and some people's favorites. So some of these you've probably heard from before. So the first one we're going to go into is, would you rather be able to teleport anywhere in the world or be able to read anyone's mind?
I would definitely pick teleport anywhere in the world. I've never traveled outside of the U.S., save for Vancouver, Canada. So, that would be a huge thing for me. I would love to see the rest of the world.
Okay. Would you rather have all the traffic lights you approach turn green or never have to stand in line again?
So this is an interesting one because people who know me know that when I'm in a car, all the red lights turn red. I don't know what it is about me, but they all turn red. My wife will get to the point where she'll tell me, get out of the car. So I'm going to go with all the red lights turn green.
Perfect. Well, maybe they just know that you're a racer and they're just trying to aggravate you more and more.
I think so.
Would you rather fight a duck the size of a horse or 100 horses the size of a duck?
I'm going to go with 100 horses the size of a duck because ducks can be mean. Those things are mean.
Yeah, I agree. The ultimate one, toilet paper roll, over or under?
Over. If you look at the actual copyright on it, when they first invented it, it's over.
Double dipping when it comes to food, whether it's a dip or a sauce or whatever, yes or no?
Oh, the chef in me screams no.
Favorite curse word?
It's got to be the F word. I use it way too much. My wife tells me I cuss way too much. I should have been British because those people know how to cuss properly.
I 100% agree. Would you rather know all the secrets to outer space or all the secrets to the ocean?
That's an interesting one. Probably outer space. I spend a lot of time studying astronomy and stuff like that. So
okay. Would you rather never have to do laundry again or never have to wash dishes again?
Oh, see, laundry is my wife's chore, and then everything involved in the kitchen is my chore. So I'm probably going to say never wash dishes again. That's going back to that buffet dishwasher.
Exactly. Would you rather go backstage with your favorite band or be an extra on your favorite TV show?
Oh, I've been an extra on 2 TV shows, so I'm going to say backstage with my favorite band.
Okay, now I have to know which TV shows because you're the first person that's ever that I know of that said that. So what TV shows were you on?
So I was actually on a couple of the morning talk shows here in Seattle. You can just show up and they'll let you be in the crowd, and then when they need somebody to clap, they hold up the applause sign.
Nice.
And one of them, they actually put the camera on me and asked me a question. So.
Oh, very cool. And if you're going to be backstage of any band, what band's it going to be?
Oh, this is going to be a really weird one. Most people won't know this, but the 80s hair band Cinderella. It's still one of my favorite bands ever. And Tom Kiefer is amazing. So I would love to be backstage with Tom Kiefer.
That's a great band. I saw Cinderella live twice. So yeah, they're great. Would you rather have a personal housekeeper or a personal chef?
I'm going to go personal housekeeper because I handle the chef stuff anyway. And I hate cleaning house.
Okay. Would you rather always have an annoying song stuck in your head or always have an itch that you can't reach?
Oh, I'm going to go with the annoying song.
Okay. If you could ride along with any NASCAR driver in history for 5 laps, who would it be? Tim
Richmond. He was my favorite race car driver ever. And he was well known for being kind of the womanizing, drinking, partying NASCAR driver. He's my guy, man, still to this day. Tim Richmond's awesome.
All right. And the last one, would you rather give up your cell phone for an entire month or give up bathing for an entire month?
Oh, cell phone.
Okay, perfect.
Man, you got to take a shower.
Yeah, well, some people don't agree with you on this one, I will say, in season 5. No. Some people would rather give up their bathing than give up their cell phone.
No way. Cell phone's got to go.
Well, that's all the questions I've got today. But before we let you go, Tim, tell people how they can get in touch with you and find out more about Clevenger.
Yeah, so check out our website. It's clevengerassociate.com, and there's lots of information on there about our whole staff and everything that we do, all the services that we offer. Of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, various other social media stuff as well. So
perfect. Well, that wraps up this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI The Americas. A special thanks to Tim for joining us today on the show. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and also help us out by sharing these episodes on all your favorite social media feeds. Until our next episode, cheers.